Greetings fellow guitar travellers, it's Rowan J Parker here and welcome to the first of a series of lessons called Beginning Improvisation. Now this series of lessons is aimed at those of you who are just getting into improvisation and would like some help on getting a handle on the basics. So unlike the majority of my other YouTube videos, this will not be a ridiculous shred or jazz fusion, but just good old-fashioned rock and roll soloing. So we're going to hope you enjoy it very much. Before we get into today's lesson, I'd like to encourage you to have a look at my website, which is www.rowanjparker.com. There's a whole ton of guitar stuff on that site, from the very simple to the most outrageous shred imaginable. And most of it is free. There's lots of lessons up there, and there's backing tracks you can solo or download. There's also a store where you can buy things. Again, I've got products ranging from the incredibly simple for complete beginners through to extremely advanced guitar techniques, and they're all available for instant download at very reasonable prices. Now also, you can subscribe to my website just by sticking your email address into the subscribe box on the website. Hit subscribe and that gets you access to a free and exclusive members area of the website where there's even more free material which you can watch and you can also download. And the last thing to plug, I do Skype lessons, so if you feel that you need some direct one-to-one help, I can certainly help you with that. I've been playing guitar for almost 30 years and I've been a full-time professional musician and teacher for much of that time. So anything you need to help with, from again very basic through to extremely advanced, I'm sure I can help you. Alright, well, enough of that. Let's get straight into today's lesson, which is looking at the very beginnings of improvisation. So, let's do it. Okay, so let's begin with a scale that you will almost certainly know. Almost every guitar player I've ever come across has learnt this scale and knows of it, even if they don't know what to do with it. It's this one. It is A minor pentatonic, so let's have a listen. Incredibly basic. Here it is one more time, a little bit quicker. Alright, now I will give you the left hand fingering and the verbal tab for this particular scale. So starting at the 5th fret of the E string, which we will call E5, we're going to go E5, E8, and then A string, A5, A7, and then D string, D5, D7, G string, D5, D7, B string, B5, B8, and E string, E5, E8. So I'm sure you know this one already, but at the risk of treating you all like idiots, I will give you the fingering as well, just to be certain, in case any of you are really flat out beginners and you've never come across the scale before. So digitation I would use would be finger 1, 4, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 4. Now a word about this scale. This is an A minor pentatonic scale, and what this really means is that it is in the key of A minor and will fit against a song in the key of A minor. So how do you know whether your song is in the key of A minor? Well, we could go into lots of theory to try and explain that, but here's a much simpler way to understand what key a song is in. What is the first chord? The first chord is almost always the key chord. That's certainly true in pop and rock music. So if you know that the first chord of your tune is A minor, it's almost certain that the song will be in A minor, in the key of A minor, and all the chords in the tune will be from that key. So it follows therefore that you can play the scale on top of your chord progression that is in that key. So it's a bit like there's a relationship between the chord and the scale, and they fit together and they've got to agree with each other, otherwise it won't sound correct. So I think by way of a small demonstration, I'll just put an A minor chord on my keyboard and play the scale over the top so you can hear that the two sounds sound concordant together, that is, that they fit together. So let's have a listen to that. Okay, so I think you will agree and you'll be able to hear that the scale and the chords fit together and sound completely concordant with each other. So that's a very basic A minor pentatonic scale. However, that's not the scale, or at least the scale shape, we're going to be focusing on today. We're going to be looking at rather what I would call an extended pentatonic scale. So imagine, if you will, taking our pentatonic box and pulling it apart at both ends so it reaches across the guitar laterally. So if we do that, we'll end up with this scale, which I like to call minor pentatonic extended. So it's this one. Let's have a listen. Now, it's extremely easy to play because you only require 2 digits to play, but it has a really good range because it starts off at the 3rd fret of the 6th string and then finishes off at the 12th fret of the high E string. So you see we're going right across the instrument and we've got all this area that we can play in. So it's very useful for breaking out of pentatonic box playing. So let me go ahead and show you the fragment, starting off with the first 5-note fragment. Sounds like this one. Okay, verbal tab here. We've got low E 3, 5, then A 3, 5, 7. Okay, now the fingering, digitation, is finger 1, finger 3, finger 1, finger 3, and then you move up with finger 3. So you move position there with the 3rd finger. So if all this material is completely new to you, pay very close attention to the fingering and make sure you duplicate the fingering that I use exactly. It is the easiest way. So that's the first 5-note fragment, and then the second 5-note fragment is the same 5 notes but up 1 octave, and it's also fingered exactly the same. So it is this one. Let's have a listen. So we have here on the D string, we have D5, D7, and then G string, G5, G7, G9, and the fingering is the same as the previous octave, which is finger 1, finger 3, finger 1, finger 3, finger 3. Alright, so that is the second of our 5-note groups, and here is the final one, which again is the same 5 notes up yet another octave, so it sounds like this. So we have here, we've got B8, B10, then high E, 8, 10 and 12. And again, fingering is just the same, finger 1, finger 3, finger 1, finger 3, finger 3. So you see, very straightforward. So if I connect all 3 patterns together and just ascend up the neck of the guitar, you should get the idea of how to play this. So let's have a listen. Now, when you descend the scale, you just reverse all the notes and all the fingering as well. So coming back down, the fingering will be 3, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 3, 1, 3, 1. What you will probably find is that to ascend through the scale is quite straightforward. When you descend, the likelihood is that you'll get lost as you have to move positionally backwards, downwards, or this way across the neck. So you just got to watch out for that. So it's important that your fingering is the same in both directions. Don't change it. You don't have one fingering for going up and then a different fingering for going down. Try and keep it consistent because it's easier in the long run. One other thing to say about this scale is that the note I'm starting on, which is a G note, this is not the root of the scale. The root of the scale is A, 5th fret, low E string. And there are other roots in the scale as well, other A notes in the scale. So the root there, and then the octave above there, which is on D7, and then the octave above that, which is on B10, okay? So these are the roots. So bear in mind that when you use a scale, the index finger is not playing the root, it's the 3rd finger which is playing the root. So if you change the scale to a different key by moving it up or down the neck, you've got to bear that in mind. Alright, so that's the explanation of how to play the scale, straightforward. Now we're going to give you some little demos of just using the scale over a little bit of a choral backing just to improvise some lines, and I'll play some incredibly simple, straightforward little ideas, and you can see how effective it is. It's simple to play but sounds absolutely fantastic. Alright, so let's proceed to the little playing demo. Here we go. Okie dokie, so very pleasant and melodic. And just a couple of notes about the performance technique. I was actually snapping the strings between my thumb and index finger for the majority of the time, or sometimes I was just doing my thumb and index finger separately. That's how I got that very snappy attack. Sounds a lot like Robin Ford actually, he does that quite often, so if you like that sort of thing you should check out his playing because he's absolutely wonderful. Alright, now I'm going to move on to the next little bit and just show you a couple of little ideas or little licks that you can move through our three fragments. Alright, so let's do that. Okay, now here is a very basic and common lick, which I'm sure you've heard before, but I will show you how to play it and then show you how to move it through three different positions or three different octaves of our scale. So here's our little lick. Blues cliche, no doubt. I mean, everyone from Hendrix to Clapton to pretty much any blues-based rock player you can think of has played this lick. So, how to play it? We are going to slide up from D5 to D7 with the third finger. And then you play G5 with the first finger. And then we have a bend up where we're going to bend the 7th fret of the G string up a tone. Now how to do the bend is you want to bend with your third finger but support the bending finger with two fingers behind it on fret 6 and fret 7, so there'll actually be three fingers in a line on the G string to help the third finger push up, and also you might want to hook your thumb over the neck of the guitar to get enough leverage to make the note go up. So, then we're going to release the bend. So basically just allow the pitch to come back down to G7. Then you're going to do a pull off from your third finger to your index finger from G7 to G5, and then to finish the lick you're going to play D7. Alright, so listen very slowly, carefully. And there's lots of different ways of changing the phrasing ever so slightly to create tons and tons of ideas just out of this one lick. So it's really worth knowing. I will supply tablature for the scales and these licks on the exclusive subscriber area of my website. So if you're looking at that thinking that's too difficult and I can't pick that up from this video, well, I'll supply it to you in tab. So another good reason to subscribe to the website, I think, right? Alright, so that's a lick in one octave. Let's move it to the lower octave and we can see it's going to be exactly the same thing but one octave down. Now this time I should say that the string bend, I'm bending towards the floor, because if I bend up towards the ceiling I'll probably push the string off the edge of the neck of the guitar, right? So usually on the A string, low E string on A string, I will bend towards the floor rather than towards the ceiling. And then if we move it to the higher octave, it'll sound like this. What we've got to be careful here is that because the tension of the high E string is a lot higher than the G string or the A string, then we're going to have to push quite a bit harder to make the note go up the same amount. So to get a tone bend on this string you have to push quite hard. So you'll probably find that you're using, say, twice the amount of force that you're using on the G string to get a similar level of pitch increase. So you have to really push and develop the strength in your left hand to be able to push the string up that far. This will work better if you have lighter gauge strings. So for instance, if you use 8s, 9s, 10s, it's okay. If you're using 11s or above, it's really hard to bend those strings. I know Stevie Ray Vaughan could do it, but he was a monster player, and we're just mere mortals. So if you're struggling with the string bends, try out some lighter gauge strings. Alright, so that is that little lick. Move to three different octaves or positions. So we'll just give you now a very short demo using the lick with some little variations over our backing. So you can see that one lick can have quite a lot of mileage and go quite far. Alright, so let's have a listen to that. of mileage in that idea. You'll just need to vary the phrasing slightly and you've got some great sounding solos with really just having, to be honest, one idea there. So you can make your ideas go a long way if you're careful with them. Alright, well, just got the wrap up to do now for this lesson. Okay, well, we hope you enjoyed that lesson, and I think you can see that with some very simple musical material and just a couple of ideas, we can produce some really effective and musical sounding ideas and improvisations. So you just apply this stuff into your own playing and it will really help you to develop and get a handle on the beginnings of soloing, and that's what this series is all going to be about. So we're going to eschew the mega shred. There's not going to be any whittle in these lessons, just straightforward stuff aimed at those of you who just want to get into developing your soloing. Alright, well, before I sign off, just remind you to look at the website and to subscribe, and if you want Skype lessons you can contact me by the website. And you can also check out all the remainder of my stuff on YouTube, of which there is absolutely tons and tons and tons. And even if you're not into shred, well, some of it's quite good fun to watch, and dare I say it myself, some of the episodes are quite funny, so it's a blast. I really enjoy doing these videos, they're great fun. Alright, well, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time for more basic but very cool rock guitar soloing. So till then, farewell!